Hello darlings, how the devil are we? So keeping it short and simple, basically back in 1994 System Shock came out, then System Shock 2 came out, everyone loved it, everyone wanted System Shock 3 but it never came to fruition. Anyway, time went by and you could say that an A-team of developers got together. They were made up of the people who did Fallout New Vegas, Mass Effect, Bioshock, etc. Really people who have a lot of experience and a lot of expertise. Anyway, they got together with the System Shock 1 developers and basically went about creating kind of, I don't know, it's a reboot, remaster, whatever you want to call it, but it is System Shock 1 with a ton of paint put on top of it. And this includes things like moving it to the Unreal Engine, new textures, new models, just new everything. It was just a recreation with new fancy parts from the ground up. Anyway, development's been going pretty well, so well in fact that they've actually managed to put out a demo, and this is what this review is all about. And as a disclaimer, these are my own thoughts and feelings on the game, and without getting too philosophical and airy-fairy, I just want to empower people with knowledge so that they can make their own decisions whether they want to get the game or not. But that being said, if you agree with what I say, I'd love to hear it in the comments, but if you disagree, also put it in the comments and let me know what you think. So I'll also note that I've never actually played System Shock or System Shock 2, so I'm kind of basing this on a first playthrough. So I was actually looking for like a one-liner that I could use to describe this game. I will say outrightly, the game is fantastically beautiful. It has its own atmosphere and it really, really owns it. And we'll go into that a little bit. But I'm going to say, this is a beautiful game built around the age where children used to hide behind their sofa with Doctor Who monsters that were made out of egg cartons. So from what I actually grabbed from the synopsis, you're essentially this hacker that's on this space station and the AI has gone doolally and is looking to destroy humanity. When you start, the game throws you into the atmosphere that it will continue throughout the whole of the demo. And this is this kind of dark 80s, like late 70s sci-fi style. I'm not sure if I get vibes of Alien mixed in with Space Odyssey. It's very, very cold. And the contrast is absolutely beautiful. You have these really bright buttons, but everything around them is also very, very dark. There are hues of beautiful mist coming up from everywhere. And you just feel like you're in a dark universe. Anyway, I'm not going to write on like an art student about how beautiful the game is. You can make your own summation from the clips, etc. Anyway, no matter how beautiful the game is, it's got to have a good set of core gameplay. And this is where my experiences start to get a little bit iffy. I literally spent 25 minutes trying to work out how to put in the combination code to one of their, quote, simple puzzles at the start of it. And I'm not expecting a game to hold my hand, but I'd like to see some sort of little breadcrumb in terms of instructions of what I've got to do. I just found it utterly confusing. But and this, unfortunately, was a consistent theme throughout the game. So kind of you pick up these dialogue boxes and they're like, we've got this idea and I was about to do this before I died. And then your mission is to then go and do it. But it doesn't really kind of note it down and say, you need to go do this. It's just like it's left in your inventory of previous recording. Now, when it comes to atmosphere, I thought it did itself really, really well when you weren't fighting enemies. And what I mean by this is, there's lots of darkness, and so you've got all these kind of like corners that you can't quite see around, and you're wandering around, and there's this music, and it's sort of like really, you get this kind of claustrophobia-esque feeling. And the back of my neck was constantly always on ends, and that was great. The problem was the enemies did the opposite to this. They kind of lifted the mood. It was like, there's this comedic thing coming at me. And the range of enemies that I kind of fought, you had a choice between a Cylon, the Borg, Alpha 5, or my personal favourite was Smeagol on steroids. And I know the game is in early access and all that jazz, but the AI as well was also super, super dodo. I'm not a great fan of enemies that just literally look at you and then telegraph in a straight line. And for such a good job of rich universe building, this felt like a bit of a disappointment. Now, this is a first-person shooter, and there obviously are guns and bits and pieces that you can shoot. I really liked the models and the animations. They were really clean. They had really, really strong vibes of natural selection. In fact, I'll go as far to say is that the whole game felt very, very natural selection-esque. And if you don't know what it is, I highly recommend looking it up on Steam and giving it a go. And to be fair to them, I should probably say that natural selection actually looks a lot like System Shock because it did come before it. But nonetheless, there was that contrast, especially since that natural selection is the newer engine. The sound was also really good. It set up such good atmosphere. I know I keep using the word atmosphere, but it was absolutely brilliant. As I say, the demo was short and I had hairs sticking up on the back of my neck all the way through. I did get a few jumps as well. System Shock is also full of various puzzles. I did like them. They range from basically the annoying door pin code at the start, but there's also various kind of light puzzles as well. We have to put pins into various slots and make sure that you're getting the right color to the end of it using some sort of color style logic gate system. And that was fun and a breath of fresh air from just shooting buff Smeagol's all the time. If you've ever played Deus Ex, then you should be very familiar with the inventory system. I will go as far to say I now think Deus Ex actually based its inventory system on System Shock's because they have a lot of overlap. But on the same part, I also found that collecting items they gave me too much to do. There was so much of, I had to click a body, there's nothing on it, another body, there's nothing on it, and it just felt like a sea of endless bodies, and after a while I found it became so annoying that I just no longer checked bodies. And I'm not sure that's something they go for, but I just feel like it's a result of the cause and effect of the system. Additionally, there are a huge amount of junk items as well that literally have no value and you just find yourself vaporizing all the time. And again, I feel like that's a hangover from the previous system just to give you a sense of more atmosphere and things to do as if you are in an environment with living people and living things. I will also say kind of the consoles and wall lights are so busy that it became difficult to differentiate what I was actually meant to click on and those that are there just to create look and feel. All in all, I played the game for about an hour and a half and got to the end of the demo. I did really enjoy what they set up. I will say towards the end it felt a little bit samey and I was rushing through and just hoping that it would come to an end. But I have no doubt in terms of like from a recreation point of view, those who are fans of the original will absolutely love this and have an absolute blast. But as for those picking it up for the first time, I'm not sure how well they're going to digest it, as there are some hangovers from it being an enhanced carbon copy essentially. But this is a labour of love and developers have put some hard work into this and they've done a really, really good job. Personally, this isn't one for me, but if you are a fan of the Alien series, go ahead and pick it up. It definitely will be worth a playthrough for you, I think. And as previously mentioned, if you're a fan of the original System Shock series, I think you're going to really, really love this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. This is just my thoughts and feelings on it, and I'd love to hear what you think of it. Let me know in the comments below, and also if there are any other demos that you would like me to review and give you my thoughts and feelings on, of course, let me know as well. But for now, please stay safe, healthy, and I'll be back with more news soon.